My fiancée, Sarah, 28F, and I, 34M, have known each other for about 6 years, engaged for 1, and our wedding is just 2 weeks away. Tonight, while we were enjoying a rare moment of relaxation at home, I witnessed something that has left me questioning if I'm making the biggest mistake of my life. Sarah was in the kitchen preparing dinner, and I was outside working on a project, a pagoda/fire pit in our backyard. As I took a break to get a drink, I overheard Sarah on speakerphone with my brother-in-law, Marty. He was asking about Sarah's sister, Evelyn, stating that he had been trying to reach her without success. To my shock, I heard Sarah respond, "She just left here. She should be home in a half hour or so." Notably, Evelyn is Marty's wife of 5 years. After grabbing a glass and asking Sarah about the phone call, she explained that Marty was looking for Evelyn and proceeded to text her about it. As I poured myself a drink and sat down, my brain slowly processed the situation. I realized that Sarah had told Marty that Evelyn was at our place, even though she wasn't here. This raised several questions. Why was she texting Evelyn when Marty mentioned she wasn't responding? And why tell Marty that Evelyn should be back in 30 minutes unless she was either aware of her location and lied about it, or currently texting her to hurry home? I wrestled with various explanations for hours, contemplating whether to confront Sarah, knowing that if my suspicions were correct, a straightforward answer might be elusive. Around an hour ago, I woke up and succumbed to the urge to check Sarah's phone, knowing each other's pins. In the bathroom, I unlocked it, confirming my fears and probably meeting your expectations. For the past 6 months, Sarah's sister, Evelyn, has been having an affair with a coworker, and Sarah has been actively helping her cover it up. The extensive text thread reveals discussions about the affair, the coworker, explicit details, and embarrassing revelations about my brother-in-law. It's stomach-churning, and my soon-to-be wife seems unfazed by it all. I took screenshots, returned the phone, and now find myself here, typing on Reddit to release the internal scream clawing at my throat. I'm utterly screwed. I can't marry Sarah, no matter what reasonable excuse she could offer for aiding her sister in this affair, victimizing Marty, and even involving their 2-year-old daughter. On the other hand, we've invested an enormous amount of money into a wedding just 2 weeks away, and there's no hope of getting it back. I feel like a fool. How did I not see this side of her? What am I going to do? Despite everything, I still want to marry her. She's beautiful, fun, and kind, and I believed we had a bright future. She hasn't wronged me directly, but the stain on the picture is too dark to ignore. Edit. I don't need convincing not to marry Sarah. That's clear. The wedding is off. I'm grappling with the next steps and must muster the courage to take them. The pressure is immense with everyone's expectations, but I refuse to yield. I'm not looking forward to handling the aftermath, and I'm more than a little angry to find myself in this situation. Edit 2. It's 5 a.m., work awaits in 3 hours, and I'm running on just a couple of hours of sleep. I'll take a shower and head to work a bit early to avoid Sarah and process this. Appreciation to the supportive folks here, and a dismissive gesture to those suggesting I find a good reason for my soon-to-be ex-fiance's actions. Edit 3. I arrived at work around 7 a.m., finding an empty office. I decided to start addressing the situation and called my brother in Australia. Breaking the news was tough, especially considering the money he spent on flights for his family, but he showed immense support without bringing up the financial aspect. He wisely pointed out, paraphrased, "Given your job dealing with liars and scammers, it makes sense you'd want a place free from such concerns." He suggested they redirect their plans to Florida, where we were initially going to honeymoon. I'll rebook everything to join them, offering Sarah's ticket to a family member. Currently, I'm trying to distract myself with endless cups of coffee until I can reach out to Marty later in the day. Edit 4. I just finished the morning stand-up, but my stomach is doing somersaults due to the excessive coffee consumption. I'm finding it impossible to focus and concentrate. Realizing that I can't proceed until I inform Marty of what I know, I've decided to take a sick day. I plan to drive over to Marty's house to talk to him in person. If he's not there, I'll give him a call and track him down. Marty, a teacher on break, and Evelyn, who works a 9 to 5 like me, increase the likelihood that this plan will work. Wish me luck. Reddit. Edit 5. I arrived at Marty's house a little after 10 a.m., and after he put his daughter down for a nap, we had a lengthy, candid conversation in the kitchen. Marty had suspected the affair for a couple of months, but Evelyn, with the assistance of Sarah and a few mutual friends, had covered her tracks well. While I only have a couple of dozen screenshots from Sarah's phone covering part of the 6 months, I shared what I had and offered Marty any assistance I could provide. As a field analyst in the SU department of a mid-sized insurer specializing in workers' compensation fraud, I have some knowledge and connections. Currently, I'm working from my laptop in my almost brother-in-law's kitchen, trying to salvage whatever I can. I'll need to talk to Sarah this evening and inform my friends and family as quickly as possible now that I know I won't compromise Marty. I've managed to rebook most of the honeymoon, facing a hiccup with the ticket due to Sarah flying under her maiden name. Fortunately, the carrier allowed me to cancel, get a partial refund, and rebook for my sister, who will accompany her 2 brothers and nieces to Florida in a couple of weeks. I'm holding off on canceling the venues until after I talk to Sarah, aiming to avoid tipping anyone off before Marty has a chance to confront Evelyn. I'll inform my family and friends this afternoon and ask them to keep it discreet. In a frenzy, I'm canceling what I can and heading to the bank shortly to open a new account and organize my bills and payments. Finances are a concern, but the mortgage is in my name, and although Sarah contributed about $20,000 compared to my $60,000 towards the down payment, I'll likely need to pay her that amount plus a portion of the mortgage payments for the last 16 months. It could be worse. Edit 6. I'm going to step back for a while. This post has gained unexpected traction on TikTok, far beyond what I anticipated in the midst of my late-night distress. Firstly, I want to clarify that I don't harbor hatred towards Sarah. While I disapprove of her actions and find them repulsive, I'm more profoundly saddened by everything. That I'm screwed part of my post reflects the tight time frame I'm operating under. Our relationship is at a point where I cannot proceed with the marriage scheduled in 2 weeks. If I had a more extended period, say 2 months or ideally a year, my approach might differ significantly, but I lack that luxury. I have to take action immediately. Entering into marriage under the current state of our relationship is not an option. End of discussion. I'll update later tonight on how today unfolds, hoping it's less traumatic than I anticipate. It's around 8:30 p.m., and I'm currently at my friend Mark's house. Mark is a former co-worker of mine in the same field, and, as mentioned in a previous update, I work as a field analyst in the SU department of a decent-sized insurance carrier, essentially a private detective investigating potential workers' compensation fraud. Marty, as I previously mentioned, sought my help in identifying the person Evelyn was cheating on him with, a guy named Jake. I began with a basic LinkedIn search through Evelyn's connections, but it yielded nothing, which struck me as odd. Marty informed me that Evelyn was supposed to be out for drinks after work and wouldn't be home until around 9 or 10, implying his suspicions. I agreed to help him, but insisted he accompany me. I then contacted Mark, explained the situation, and arranged for him to meet us later in the day. Our first move was to Marty's parents' house, where they could watch their granddaughter. While I stayed in the car, I wasn't privy to what Marty shared with them. Subsequently, we headed to Evelyn's workplace, situated in a large commercial strip mall. After locating Evelyn's car, Marty used a spare set of keys to unlock it, and I equipped him with a voice-activated recorder and a GPS tracker to discreetly place in the vehicle. Once that was accomplished, we parked down the street, awaiting the arrival of my friend, Mark, and for Evelyn to conclude her workday. Mark joined us about 20 minutes later, and approximately an hour afterward, Evelyn emerged from her office with 2 girlfriends and a tall, sandy blonde-haired man, unmistakably holding hands. I discreetly captured a couple of pictures from our car, and as Evelyn departed in her vehicle, I initiated tracking. Initially, I speculated she might head to a hotel, but instead, she drove to a decent bar and grill in an upscale part of town, parking on the street. As she entered the establishment, I drove past her, found my own parking spot, and finalized the plan. Our first move was to send Mark inside, given that he was unknown to everyone involved. He had 2 primary tasks: capture any incriminating photos of Evelyn and Jake, and serve as my alibi. Marty and I waited in the car for approximately 20 minutes until I received the first series of text messages from Mark. The images revealed Evelyn and Jake intimately engaged in front of their 2 female coworkers, confirming Marty's suspicions that they were actively aiding Evelyn in concealing the affair from him. Understandably, Marty was profoundly upset and angered, especially since one of the coworkers was married, and the couple were good friends with Marty and Evelyn, both sharing toddlers of similar ages. Marty still expresses a strong desire to uncover the identity of this guy. Though I attempt to reassure him that we can address it later, he's practically pleading, so I instruct him to wait. I send a text to Mark, informing him that I'm entering, and then proceed into the bar. Upon entering, I spot Evelyn and her group laughing and enjoying drinks at one of those tall round tables near the front window. I pause for a moment, feigning surprise, and then call out to Evelyn. Evelyn, hi. What are you doing here? She appears visibly shocked, and there's an immediate tension among those around her. Evelyn hurriedly introduces me as her sister's fiancé, mentioning our upcoming wedding in 2 weeks. Congratulations ensue from the group, and I express my gratitude before extending my hand to the blonde guy, introducing myself with my full name and hoping for a reciprocal response. Surprisingly, he complies, leaving me a bit taken aback. His name isn't Jake. After introducing myself to everyone else, I inform Evelyn that I'm there to meet a co-worker, wave to Mark, and excuse myself. Once with Mark, I share the guy's name, and we both pull out our phones to investigate. It doesn't take us long to find him. He has social media profiles and a couple of court case judgments against him. The pieces fall into place when we discover that Jake is his middle name. At this point, I'm simply relieved that Evelyn isn't involved with 2 different co-workers. As it turns out, Jake is a 26-year-old married man with a 1-year-old daughter. The situation keeps escalating, taking an unexpected turn for the worse. I text Marty the guy's name and decide to push my luck, urging him to wait a few more minutes. Essentially, I'm playing the role of babysitter here at the bar. My presence is quite visible to Evelyn and her crew, and it's evident that nobody is thrilled about it. I can sense that my being there is putting a damper on their night. This is precisely what I want. I let this continue for about 10 minutes and then instruct Marty to text Evelyn, telling her he's spending the night at his parents' house with their daughter. It doesn't take long after that for me to observe Evelyn taking out her phone, showing it to Jake, and the entire group deciding to pack up. Evelyn approaches me, bids me good night, and casually invites Sarah and me over for dinner during the weekend. I smile, agree that it's a great idea, and wish her and her co-workers a good night. Mark and I wait for them to leave, settle our bill, and hastily return to the awaiting Marty. There's a moment of hesitation here because we're uncertain about Evelyn's next move. I half expected she might have already booked a hotel room and was heading there, which would have complicated things and limited my options. However, it turns out that tonight was initially intended as a simple drinks outing, and it only escalated into something more when Marty decided to spend the night at his parents'. Evelyn promptly headed home, and we discreetly followed, parking down the street and staying out of sight. Soon after, another car pulled into Marty's driveway, and we witnessed Jake getting out, approaching the door, knocking, and being welcomed inside by Evelyn. At this point, it's around 7:30, and I fulfilled my role as a friend in Marty's situation. I've got my own commitments for the night, and honestly, I've done all I can to help him confront his cheating wife. While I empathize with Marty, I'm not eager to dive deeper into this drama. Marty reassures me that he'll handle the aftermath on his own. We retrieve my gear from Evelyn's car, exchange goodbyes, and that was almost 2 hours ago. I received a text from Marty indicating that he confronted Evelyn and headed to his parents' house, but my phone hasn't been buzzing, so I'm in the dark about the ongoing situation with Evelyn. My main focus now is to head home and inform Sarah that the wedding is off. Anticipating a negative reaction, I acknowledge that we might not be done with each other entirely, but marriage is off the table for now. To those questioning why I didn't talk to her first, consider this. She coldly lied to her brother-in-law, whom she's known for a decade and supposedly regards as a great husband and father. I can't expect honesty from someone who can lie so effortlessly to someone they should care about. Until that moment, I never doubted Sarah, but witnessing her untrustworthiness in front of me was disorienting. I'm heading home to talk to Sarah, and I'll update later on the outcome. Don't expect it to be a positive one. Edit 8. I had the conversation with Sarah last night, and it was incredibly intense. I'm feeling completely drained and exhausted, even after taking a sick day and sleeping until almost 10:45. I acknowledge the interest in updates, but given my tendency to be detailed, I'm simply too worn out right now. I'll provide a TLDR and assure you that a comprehensive update will follow. Summing it up, I returned home to discuss canceling the wedding, only to find Sarah comforting Evelyn on the couch. It got intense, tears flowed, police were called, and I crashed for a solid 10 hours. My phone is buzzing like crazy, and if it keeps up, I might charge people to sit on it at Evelyn's office. Everything's chaotic. Lots to handle today. Family knew the situation by yesterday, reaching out to friends now. Quick note, I'm no James Bond. I'm the guy tailing a disabled construction worker to Zumba or skydiving, a role I've played for about 5 years. Clarifying a few points. First, my methods in the Marty case were straightforward, involving a $50 GPS from Amazon and a smidge of social engineering. Second, I've clocked out on Marty's situation. What he does with the information is on him. My world is imploding, and I can't handle more involvement. Third, while not an aspiring writer, I'm drowning in reports, spending most of my time transcribing statements or at a laptop. Fourth, I admit fault in leaving Marty to handle it alone. I underestimated the risk to him. Last, for those questioning Marty's character, I've read 6 months of texts. I know the unsavory details that influenced my actions. If Sarah had acted differently, we might not be in this situation. Signing off for now. I'll aim to share the fallout in the coming days, but I'll likely be taking a step back from Reddit. Thanks to those supporting me, your encouragement meant a great deal during this challenging time. Wishing everyone the best of luck. Edit 9. I attempted to share a comprehensive update in a new post, but AutoMod keeps removing it. If the mods don't retrieve the post, you can find the next part of this chaotic saga on my user profile. Friend, how do you like this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. Love you.